Alright, YouTube, so what's good, man? It's your boy FX here, and I'm back with another video, man. In today's video, I have this beautiful supply trade right here. Like I'm not even gonna lie, man. Like, this trade is beautiful, bread and butter on a beautiful Monday morning. Caught this beautiful supply trade. It's just it like this is high probability trades. Like, when I see setups like this, when I come to the market and I see beautiful setups like this, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I'm gonna win, and that's literally what happened. Um, Price came back toward him at or supply zone. I mean, three confluences. My three confluences. If you've been watching my videos for some time, you'd understand. Like, the confluences are the things that I look for when I'm trying to take my trades. I don't just jump into like my trades. I don't just go on the charts and say, oh yeah, trade. No, like, I mean, that's not how it works. You have to have a strategy. Like, a strategy is very important. Rules and regulation that you're going to use to govern your trading styles that would lead to consistency is extremely important in day trading, in forex, as a matter of fact. That's the only way you can be consistently profitable, is doing the same thing over and over again. All right, so I have a set of rules that I used to take my trades, that I used to like identify my strategy. Right, so I have my supply zone right here. Price aggressively shot out to my supply zone, so that goes to show you that there's a lot of sellers in the market. As a result, there's a good chance that if price come back to the zone and you try to sell again, there's a good chance that price would go in a direction. That's basically the whole purpose of supply and demand setups, right? Now, I trade supply and demand different from a lot of persons. A lot of persons trade supply and demand without gaps, but my supply and demand has to have a gap. All right, so gap is right here pretty much, and the purpose of a gap is to our fair value gap, or it's not. I don't call it order blocks. I call it gaps. I'm old school. A lot of persons know it as fair value gap, but I call it gaps, right? So the purpose of gaps in the market is to, well, gaps are basically in supplies. Gaps are spaces in the market where sellers didn't get a chance to sell at in the past. As a result, no, not sellers. Buyers didn't get a chance to buy at in the past. As a result, price is always going to go back to that section to give buyers the opportunity to buy, and that is in a supply trade. All right, now when a demand setup, it's pretty much opposite. It is the gap in a demand setup is opportunity to give sellers the chance to sell who didn't get the chance to sell at first when price aggressively went off. Because when there's a gap in the market, when there's a gap in your supply and demand setup, it basically means that price was basically dropping so fast that um, the gaps that was left on this side, because this wick right here should have filled in this space there. Let me zoom up a little bit more so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because gaps are very important, bro. Gaps are extremely important. Because when I started, because I used to trade my supply and demand setups without gap, and I mean, I used to still win trades, but when I really started incorporating gaps in my supply and demand setups, my win rate literally went up drastically. So I'm speaking from experience. I'm gonna tell persons this all the time, like, bro, if you click on these videos, man, if you have the opportunity to learn day trading right now, like, if you click on this video, man, this is literally your chance. Like, this strategy that I'm giving right now, I mean, in the future you might not have these opportunity. I'm giving free game right now, so you guys need to take the notes, go for a pen, book on paper, and start to learn. Because I'm literally giving away my strategy for free. I mean, there's a lot more that goes into it, right? But you guys can literally learn a lot from these videos and start practicing yourself. Watch the videos, start back testing yourself, try to get some understanding, and of course you guys can always reach out to me if you want to learn. All right, however, yeah, so gap, so right here, let me try to remove this zone because it's going to be a little bit hard for you guys to see it. Just remove everything, as a matter of fact. So let me just go back in time a little bit. All right, It's all right. There should be good. All right. So as I mentioned, this supply zone, I would mark on my zone here. Aggressive selling. That's a good indication. Structure being broken, and this right here, you see this low right here was broken. That's another huge sign, because if price could aggressively sell off the way it did, right, and break lows, that's a good sign that there's a lot of sellers in the market. And that's all we're really looking for when you're trying to take trades. If you're taking a sell, why are you taking a sell? Is there's a lot of sellers in the market? If there's a lot of sellers in the market, cool, you can sell. So that's really my ideology, why I try to make sure that my supply, if it's supply, I make sure that when price aggressively shoots out my supply zone, I want to make sure that it's breaking structure, and I want to make sure that I'm taking a trade that is going in the same direction as the higher time frame, like the daily time frame. I'm gonna go on a daily time frame in a bit and show you guys what I'm talking about. But I want you guys to understand gap, because one of my students hopefully watches videos, but I'm going to make something for him personally. However, gaps are very important. If you're marking up your zones and you're not using gaps, you're going to be losing. And gaps, it's going to take you some time to really identify supply and demand setups. All right, it's going to take you some time to really identify gaps. If it's a little bit confusing to you right now, over time, just stay consistent. The market and price action is just going to start looking like a book to you. It's going to be very easy over time, so just keep consistent in you and you learn. But all right, so this right here, this green candlestick here, all right, this bullish green candlestick, the below the bottom of this wick there, right here, if you look on the right hand side, you'd realize that this wick right here on this candlestick didn't push up to close the space between here and there. Let me try to get a line so I can mark that really good. What can I use? And I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying these videos. A lot of persons been reaching out to me, saying that you're enjoying the videos, and like I love seeing that, man. I just like the fact that persons are understanding, of course. So I'm really happy for that. But so the gap would be from right there. Maybe I should use a different color. Use yellow. Right. So the gap would be from there to here. From there to there. So you see that little space between this green wick and this candlestick right here should have been filled out. Seeing the fact that no wick came to fill the gap between this space here, this wick didn't come up and fill it, nor this wick here, nor this wick. None of those wick came up. That price needs to be filled, right? Because buyers need an opportunity to buy at this price, right? So that would basically be somewhat of a premium price. So the market is going to try to get back at that level to give buyers the opportunity to buy who didn't buy in the past. So that's really the purpose of gaps. So when you see a gap in your supply and demand setup, that's a good indication that you can wait on this supply and demand setup for price to come back, because price always try to fill gaps. It's not going to always do it, but majority of the time you're going to see that price fills the gap and just go in its direction. All right, so that's pretty much a gap right there. So aggressive selling, structure was broken right here. This structure was broken, right? My supply zone, my supply setup had a gap, and that was really just it, pretty much. Daily time frame was looking beautiful. I'm gonna go on a daily time frame, but first of all, I already knew that the US dollar was selling off really hard, so that was another indication for me to take sells. It's sometimes, of course, like news and stuff like that is very, very important. So that's why it's very important for you to check on news. Yeah. So let's go on a daily time frame. No, let's not go on a daily time frame as yet, as a matter of fact. So as I said, all the criterias for the supply trade right here played out. All right, everything. So aggressive selling. So if you're trying to take these supply and demand setups, three things you need to be looking for: aggressive selling. If it's a supply, aggressive selling. If it's a demand, aggressive buying. Your supply or demand zone should have a gap, and your supply or demand zone should be breaking lows. If it's a supply zone, like here, lows should be broken. If it's a demand zone, then highs should be broken. All right, and that would be a nice setup. Depending, there's a lot of things that affects the probability of the setup playing out, such as if there was another supply zone above my zone here. Most cases what price would do is literally blast through your zone and fill in the higher supply pretty much. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much that. Let's go on a daily time frame, because the daily time frame was definitely bearish. Price was dropping on a daily time frame, and that was definitely another indication for me to take a sell. Right, so if you look on a daily time frame, price market's been dropping. Right, so that's really it. And I try not to, if you guys really watch my videos, you'd realize that I try my best not to overcomplicate things, because trading should be simple. I personally believe that trading should be simple. But when I used to trade in the past and I used to use certain strategy that is so complicated, it just makes the whole trading experience, tedious. You just need a few criteria to enter your trade and have a strategy that actually makes sense. And supply and demand is best. I personally think supply and demand is the best strategy. Literally, anyone can come to me, I don't care. Supply and demand is the best strategy. This strategy has been making money. It has been making other person's money who I know. So who's to say it won't make you money if you come and actually try to practice and learn? So I think that really sums up the video. This was a beautiful trade for this week so far. So I'm up, literally I'm up for this week, which is really good. First trade for the week and make some money. Coming back tomorrow, hopefully we get a dub, but we just gotta see. But so basically that was really it. Yeah, so as you can see, let me do something real quick. I want to show you guys how price actually reacted to the zone. So boom, aggressive selling. All right, price pretty much went all the way down here. Now I'm going to show you guys something when it comes on to supply and demand, right? Because there's multiple, sometimes it's going to be a case where you're going to see multiple supply and demand setups, because this right here is a supply also. That right there is a supply. Let me just kind of make this look a little bit clean. All right, so this right here was a supply and this right here was a supply. Now if you've been trading, or if you know anything about trading, you will know that it's not good to sell when price is low. Like, you need price to retrace a little bit. Like, if price is not just going to keep dropping, it is going to retrace. So if, let's say, you come to the market, you see two supplies in a situation like this. Now which supply would be the best? This one up here, because what happens in most cases, price would literally blast you this supply right here and come to this supply up here and then drop. Right, that's just so, because the fact that price would have filled in this gap here, because this supply does have a gap, but if it will fill in this gap, but what about this gap here? And as I said to you, price always try to come and fill gap. So in most cases, what price does when you come to the market and you see something like this, it shoots through your first zone, then tap in this zone up here and then start to drop. And that is exactly what happened. Let's see. Alright, so you see, watch, blast through that zone, literally blast through it, and then it stopped at this up here, pretty much. Right, stopped up there, stopped at the highest supply, and then it starts to drop. You see, a simple one too, bro. Trading is not complicated, of course. Well, for some person it is, but when you start to trade a lot, when you start to trading a lot and you really start getting experience, it's going to become easier. All right, but I mean that's pretty much it for the video. Hope you guys liked the video. If you learned something, leave a like, subscribe, comment, and share. That's it for the video. Peace and love. Gonna be dropping a lot of bangers in the future, so subscribe, stay tuned. Bye. I'm out.